As you may have noticed, as we're going into a recession, and I suspect unemployment's going to scream. I see more people here in Arizona standing on street corners and all this saying, veteran, please give me $1 or something like this. And I just can't believe they're wasting their time begging for money. And this guy was a pretty young guy standing on the corner begging. And it's not good. So we're heading back, I think, into the 1920s. Very good chance we're in the middle of a drought right now. This is a 90-year cycle in bad weather. Today, everything's changing so rapidly. But this time, the tom-tom beats are getting louder and louder and more do it now, basically. My concern today is for Kim and I, our real issue is social unrest. The gap between the rich and poor is now excessive. And that leads to revolution, civil rioting, and all this. When you print all this fake money and you rig it for the rich only, what that produces is a wave of intensified and widespread social unrest, disjointed political upheaval, dangerous extremism, punishing trade wars, and sweeping isolation. The reason I like real estate is I get what I call passive income, forever. It's my property. I don't ever sell. I just stop. But the other thing I noticed was that even at Xerox, they flew me to Leesburg, Virginia, first class, just getting out of the Marine Corps. Again, my poor dad is going, you should go back to get a college degree. You're going to be a salesman? You're going to be a salesman? Oh my God. He was so anti the academic elite because he's a PhD. And the academic elite, as you know, they're a bunch of weirdos today. They're the ones screwing up the whole economy, in my opinion. They're Marxists. I'm a U.S. Marine. Another one's the business school for the 21st century because it really is about networks. When you look at why blockchain works and why Bitcoin works, is they build networks. But if you go to school, you get a job, you're just a cog in the wheel. So that's what I want to get into. Why do people quit when the going gets tough? That's not a U.S. Marine attitude. You know what I mean? When the going gets tough, you get smarter. But most people today are such, snowflakes. But I want you to think about the people that you did recruit in, but why they quit. You see, I think that's the biggest issue of all. Or the people that said, no, I don't like network marketing. Because that's when the rubber meets the road is, because salesmanship begins when the customer says no. Book publishers, when Rich Dad, Poor Dad came out in 1997, they said, what do you know? What you're saying is not true. What do you mean savers are losers? What do you mean that your house is not an asset? What do you mean this, And they were just rejecting me. But thank God, I can sell. And today I'm still suck as a writer. I'll never win the Pulitzer Prize. I flunked out of high school twice because I can't write. And yet I could sell. So when I said to the publishers at some of the big publishing houses, I said, I know, but I'm going to be a best-selling author. Well, but you can't write. I said, yes, but I can sell. And so that's why Rich Dad, Poor Dad, the first book was sold at my friend's car wash in Austin, Texas.
A lot of people are addicted to that paycheck. They're so afraid to venture out on their own and not have the security of that paycheck. A lot of times we say, if you have a full-time job, keep your full-time job, start a part-time business and work it and work it and work it. Look at what you do in your spare time. And people go, I have no spare time. Well, yes, you do. If you broke it out, how much are you watching TV? How much are you on your iPhone, playing video games, doing things that really are not important? And take that time and channel it into the business that you want to create. I love real estate. And I started back in 1989 with a little 2-bedroom, 1-bath house. And back then it was $45,000. And I had to put down $5,000, which I didn't have. And I was scared to death. And what if I lose money? And what if I make a mistake? But once I got through that first property and kept buying more and more properties, I understood real estate. I understood the game, but I also understood the freedom that real estate, specifically cash flowing real estate, could deliver. And that's really the love of real estate. It's not so much the property, although I love properties. I love to figure out how to make the properties better, how to create a better environment for our tenants. I love all of that. But the number one thing is the freedom that comes from the cash flow of these rental properties. Anybody can do it. It's just there seems to be a fear of parting your money into a property especially when you don't know. Like the first time I did this, I really didn't know anything about real estate. You know, I think maybe I got the numbers right, but I don't know. And what happened after 3 months, the tenant moved out. The first property I had, the tenant moved out. I'm like, oh, I'm so smart. I'm going to raise the rent. So I raised the rent. Well, I raised it above market. So nobody rented for 3 months. So instead of making my $25 a month, I lost $300 a month.
As some of you heard me before, the best time to buy is after the crash. Everybody was saying get out of debt, live debt-free and all that. And for most people, that's really good advice. If you have no financial education, live debt-free and all this. But the biggest mistake that people make is they call their house an asset. And if you understood a financial statement, which is rich dad, poor dad, assets put money in your pocket, whether you work or not, and liabilities take money from your pocket. So the average person, even if they have a PhD from Harvard, they're buying liabilities they call assets. So it's because Wall Street and the Federal Reserve Bank and all those guys are telling you what to do.
If you look at money, money's kind of a psychotic subject. Everybody's got all these crazy ideas and beliefs, and money's the root of all evil, and only rich people are corrupt, and all these crazy ideas. It's just money. It's just a means of exchange, and people do crazy things for it. So, my favorite line that Rich Dad said, Rich Dad said, money may not be the most important thing in the world, but it affects everything that is. It affects your lifestyle, it affects your health care, it affects your level of education, it affects everything on a day-to-day basis. It affects the food you eat. So it may not be the most important thing, but it does affect everything that is important. I think in the school system, they don't want us to learn about money because they just want to pump out good employees that do what they're told. I mean, if you look at school, it's opposite of what it takes to be successful in real life. Don't make a mistake. Do as you're told. Take tests by yourself. Don't cooperate. Do it by yourself. Do it on your own. And the last thing was, there's only one right answer. No, there's tons of answers to a problem. So you come out of school scared to death of making a mistake. You do everything on your own. You don't cooperate. There's no synergy. There's no brainstorming. And there's only one right answer. Everybody wants to get the right answer. There's no one right answer. So I think people come out of school paralyzed. I think the school system is criminal in that it kills a child's spirit of learning. A child goes into school all excited about, I'm going to learn and it's going to be great. And then the teacher says, sit down and shut up.